Would you lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Yes, I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next agenda item, School Committee Chair Report. I have nothing to report at this time. Resource Committee.
Nothing at this time, but I would like to just bring up that I would like to have a meeting, and one of the things I would like to be looking at is doing away with the athletic fees for our participants. Talk about that, and I would like to invite Mr. Craig Antorsi, our athletic director, and I have done some preliminary talks with him. And if I could get some feedback from the rest of the school committee, there are things like, preliminary talks, only like 2 out of 5, or 1.5 out of 5 pay. And we probably collect 14,000 out of 30,000. So most of the fees are waived. So I would like to see if it's possible, if we couldn't, because it's like when we had the free and reduced lunch, there are a lot of kids that didn't apply for the free lunch because they didn't want to do that paperwork, or a lot of the kids didn't eat because they were right on the borderline. And I think how many kids might still participate in activities if there weren't any fees. So,
Would that be confined just to resource? Would it also be policy as well? I'm asking.
yeah.
I don't know. There'd be a change in policy, right?
We'd have to, I guess, review, yeah.
Review it.
Review, yeah.
But we start with resource.
Start with resource,
and
yep.
have a recommendation.
Yep.
All right. Do we need to vote to refer it to resource?
No,
We just schedule a meeting,
We'll
put that
just
on
have
the
a meeting
agenda.
and we'll discuss it.
Yep.
All right.
The committee with the administration and go from there.
But thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Stevens. School building needs. Mr. Stevens.
Maybe something Mr. Jokler might, school buildings, we just had the walkthrough at Lonjo, which I thought was very, very successful. And,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, the introduction of the facilities director will be made tomorrow evening at the Finance Committee meeting.
Okay.
The new position.
Okay.
I think you're aware of it as
Yep.
well, Peter. Yes.
So
Yeah.
just in terms of I don't know if everybody understands what the walkthrough at Longjo was all about, but is that something you're going to be talking a little bit about tonight, or?
It wasn't on the agenda, but I mean, we can talk about it.
We had, there must have been about a dozen people, some city councilors and the principal and other people from the school and school committee just going through and inspecting the building. And one of the councilors had a lot of questions that we met and talked about. And I think the councilors seemed to be very okay with what she saw and what took place. And
That was in response to, like, some concerns, right?
some
So-
Facebook stuff and things like that. And,
Yeah. I just think giving the context of that is good, so.
yeah. So, I mean, and I think Mr. Shalafu, somebody, one of the things was a mat on the wall. What the mat on the wall is just protection from the kids running into the brick wall underneath the baskets, and it had some duct tape on it, but it's just a mat.
What it speaks to is the importance of being proactive.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see that kind of thing, address it. It's not an extraordinary amount of money by any means. Let's get it fixed, because in the age of social media, that's what drives it. And that's why this meeting had to come about. The responsibility rests with the school committee, not city council. So,
Yeah.
okay.
I think we're all set on that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Policy committee. Mr. Horgan.
We'll schedule a meeting soon.
Okay. Student support committee.
So we have a meeting scheduled this week, Thursday, February 27th at 4 p.m., so excuse me because I'm looking at the agenda on my phone here, then I'll turn it off. But the we're going to, on the agenda, we have a curriculum review of all grades, so we're interested in looking at all subjects, including gym, phys ed, health, and local history. So we're just really going to get a sense of comprehensively what we're looking at right now across the district. And then we are going to get some updates on the preschool waiting list program, preschool program, and then look at the waiting list for that. Student Opportunity Act, we're going to have an update tonight, and I know Superintendent Jokela, you wanted to add that on the list just so that we could continue to follow up on what recommendations of the staff and what input the staff has given on that, correct? And then just an open other item. So that'll be this Thursday.
Mr. Mayor, if I could,
Yes.
if I could go back one to Policy Committee on,
Sure.
are you going to be looking, we received something from MASC about the public comment, and where MASC is recommending 3 minutes and some other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look forward to that. That sounds, I haven't gotten any messages from the association, but that's something.
Maybe I can get that to you.
That's great.
I think it was in the mailing.
It was in the mailing.
Do you get that mailing, Ian, from the MASC? Yeah.
Maybe I'm on like the email, but I don't think I get the mailing. No, it's nothing. I didn't get anything about it.
Yeah.
But that sounds great. I look forward to it.
Okay, I'll get you the mailing of it so you can take a look at it.
Yeah, I've been in contact with Kathleen Kelly, like the district director from MASC, but she hasn't mentioned anything about that.
Okay, but, yeah, it was a mailing, I believe it's from the attorney also. And
Okay,
they're recommending the 3 minutes and the sign-in sheet and so forth, and some
I
other,
like that.
other things.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, School Personnel Committee, I have nothing to report, nor the Executive Committee, unless,
No.
okay? Student reps, or in this case, Rep. Ms. Scarpelletti.
Hi.
Hi.
The Fitchburg girls track team competed on Thursday night at the MIAA Division II state qualifier. Top performances were the 4x2 women's team, placing 8th overall with a season best time. The boys hockey team has qualified for the Massachusetts playoffs. The team finished with a season total of 8 wins and will play Grafton High School this Wednesday. This year's teen job fair will take place on April 1st at the Boys and Girls Club. Last year, 200 teens and young adults attended the event, and many found jobs as there were more than 25 employers at the event. This year's event will have 35 employers looking to hire students and young adults between 16 and 24 years old. To celebrate Black History Month and our own place in history as one of the first public high schools in the United States to integrate, FHS will have an open school assembly with performances, presentations, and other information on Thursday, February 27th at 9:30 a.m. This will be a student-organized and run event by our television and broadcasting program, Mr. Link, as parents are also invited. The Helping Hands Community Service Club is collecting donations to help those most in need. They are looking for new or gently used shoes or clothing. Donations will be sent to the organization Souls for Souls to help children and families who are in need. FHS will be collecting donations starting now until the end of February. The next School Improvement Council will take place on March 18th in the FHS Library. Topics that will be discussed will be the FHS vision of the graduate, how to improve attendance, a budget update, and other improvement ideas. We will also discuss the issue of vaping and/or smokeless nicotine marijuana devices and how it impacts our school setting. Spring sports begin on March 16th. And the Student Athlete Leadership Council is hosting our annual sports fair on March 11th from 5 to 7 p.m. And we are actively seeking donations from surrounding businesses for raffle prizes and trying to spread the word throughout Fitchburg elementary and middle schools.
Terrific. Questions?
One comment.
Go ahead. Yep.
5 of our hockey players made the all-star team.
All right. That's great. All right.
I had one question, I missed it in your presentation. The shoe thing, what was that about the shoes? The
Yes,
gently used shoes?
the organization Souls for Souls, the Helping Hands Community Service Club, is collecting donations to...
Helping Hands Service Committee?
Yes.
And the program is Souls for Souls? Nice.
SOLES for
O-U-L-S.
SOULS.
Helping Hands. How would anybody contribute to that wasn't
Miss
going to school?
Manto. Miss Manto runs it.
Miss who?
Miss Manto.
M-A-N-T-E-A-U?
MANTO, I think.
Oh, M-A-N-T-O. Okay, thank you. I have some shoes.
Perfect.
Nobody wants.
Perfect.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, approval of the minutes of the school committee meeting of February 3rd, 2020.
Make a motion?
Motion made
Second.
and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed is unanimous, thank you. Executive session, I don't believe there's a need for that, is that correct, Mr. Superintendent? Thank you. Communications, anyone wishing to make a communication of any kind?
I do,
You do.
yes.
Okay.
This is the time for it. I have been contacted by several people concerned about the sexualization of the young people in the city, in the schools. And so there is a meeting, and I left brochures out there at the Horizon Christian Fellowship Church on Broad Street, across from the football field there, from 1 to 2 on Sunday, March 15th. And there'll be a gentleman coming out, I believe from Boston, to asking everybody to come and learn what children are actually being taught in sex ed class. So we're hoping that there'd be a big turnout for that, and parents can be informed. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Comments? Seeing none, public comment on the agenda. Anyone wishing to make a public statement, please come to the center table. State your name, your address, your organization, and you have 5 minutes.
Okay.
I hope you're not going to need 5 minutes. Thank you.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Marites McLean. I'm a family childcare educator in Fitchburg. I'm also a consultant. I belong to Massachusetts Directors Group. It's a network of early childhood directors for center-based programs and family childcare, and also professionals in the field of early childhood education. I'm here tonight because I would like to advocate for the Student Opportunity Act. I emailed everyone, the school committee, the mayor, and the superintendent about the preschool expansion. I think there's a need for the public school system to provide preschool, full-day preschool for children who needs it. Currently, I asked the childcare resources to provide information about how many people or children are on the waiting list for financial assistance to get childcare. And the data said that there's 4,133 children right now currently on the waiting list. If we provide preschool expansion with the Student Opportunity Act, I think we'll be able to serve at least those children 4 years old who are waiting to get childcare. This is a good opportunity for the parents who sometimes opt to not go to work because of lack of childcare. There's also a lot of studies saying that absenteeism and workers' productivity go down because parents can't find childcare for their families. And so because of that, people are choosing not to go to work or work part-time, and it puts up a financial burden on many families. So I think the Student Opportunity Act is a very good opportunity for the citizens, the youngest citizens of our city. And also, I just got invitation from the Department of Early Education and Care and from the Department of Elementary and Secondary School about the Early Learning Network. And I'm wondering if the city of Fitchburg is sending a team to attend that meeting. It's going to be in Worcester on March 5th from 9 to 2:30 to discuss different matters such as collaboration, building structures to support expansion of high-quality early learning opportunities, and collaboration across the mixed delivery system. Curriculum and instructions to explore EECs and developing curriculum, rubric, and how it can support instructional practices, and creating safe environments for young children, how EEC and EC can support programs in creating safe environments for young children. I really hope that somebody
Thank you.
will attend this.
So I can tell you that our special education director will be attending,
Okay.
Director of
That's
Youth
good.
Personnel.
That's awesome, because I will be attending too, so maybe she and, is it a she?
Roanne, yes.
Roanne,
Roanne
okay.
Dementia,
Yeah, she and
yeah.
I can be in the same team.
Yep.
Thank you for
Yep.
the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your interest.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Superintendent's report.
Okay. We have a few groups presenting tonight. First of all is the Memorial Middle School Volleyball Club. With us tonight is Sue Trigny, and we have a handful of students coming up, so I don't know if we need to bring a couple chairs forward. And if each of you could just identify yourself, and then we'll have Ms. Trigny just give a quick introduction and have you explain this youth venture.
My name is Lana Lee Clifford.
I'm Alanis Rivera.
I'm Kiara Cologne.
I'm Aubrey Nomsali.
And I'm Sue Trigny. I'm here tonight because I serve as a mentor for the Change Making Initiative. We've had this initiative with our school department for 3 years now. This is the 3rd year. I've been involved since the beginning, so I serve as a mentor to any teachers in the building that want to start a change-making initiative, and also for the after-school program for any teachers that are working on change-making. So Mrs. Morrison is their advisor for this program, and she wasn't able to make it today, so I stepped in. I was working with her, but she actually was involved with the girls. Change-making is giving students a voice to make change. Usually they will identify a problem and try to bring it to an adult and come up with a solution for that problem. And in doing that, they develop leadership and empathy and collaboration. So it's a really good process. And they are change makers. They just didn't really realize it until recently. So I'm going to let them talk to you a little bit about the volleyball club that they started here at Memorial, how it started as a problem and what's going right up until what's going on now. Okay?
Okay, so the reason that we wanted the volleyball club was because we thought there wasn't enough to do after school. And we thought it would, well, we all liked volleyball from the start. And we thought it would be really fun to have a club that we can have other people play with us and we wouldn't just be playing by ourselves.
In order to start it, we had to talk to the principal of the school and the athletic director to get funding for a coach or somebody to advise us. And so we emailed Mr. Antossi, and we had a meeting in the office at the school about like how we wanted to structure it and to have girls from the high school team come down so that they could show us skills. And they come down every Friday and they help us out with like the younger kids, and they help us learn so that we'll be ready for high school.
So we don't have anything at this level
We do not have a,
in the school system? I mean,
right,
yeah.
right. So
It's a great feeder system for the high school, right?
I happen to have all 4 of these girls in my PE classes, and at the beginning of each class, we do what we call open gym, but we allow them free time. It's a little bit of social time, but it's free time before we actually start the class. And the volleyball skills that I see are just incredible at this level. These are 8th grade girls, and they're very excited about playing at the high school level.
That's great.
Yeah, so tell them a little bit about how you got the word out, and then how successful you've been.
So we got the word out. We had the 5th graders do like posters, and we put that like all over the school. And then they were saying a lot in the intercom, like to come to the volleyball, and they were saying just a lot of stuff about it.
So how many people are showing up every
Yeah,
Friday?
that's what I was gonna ask. Yeah.
How many students are showing up every Friday afternoon?
A lot, probably like 80 to 70 kids.
What?
Between 70 and 80
Come on.
students.
See the pictures. They fill the gym. It's on their Instagram page. They fill the
Yeah.
entire gymnasium.
Yeah.
You have enough
Crazy.
nets?
We have 2.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's a really good problem to have,
Yeah.
so the interest is there, which is great. Mrs. Morrison, the advisor, is not a volleyball coach. She is basically there as the facilitator, and she lets
We
the
are the
kids run the
coaches.
program. So these girls break up into groups, and they show the younger kids skills, and then there's another group that's actually playing volleyball, and they rotate kids in. But it's a lot of kids, 70 to 80 kids is a lot. So even as a PE teacher, one of the reasons we don't play volleyball with our PE classes is because there's so many kids. So
That's every Friday?
Friday afternoons is when they run the
Time?
program.
2 to 3:15.
2 to 3:15.
And is
So
it
tell
just
them
girls? Is it-
how you're
Um,
solving that problem.
So we had a lot of kids show up the first day, and it was really overwhelming. And because we don't have other like teams in the district to play, it has to be just us. So we couldn't eliminate anybody and make an actual team. So we had to accept everybody into it. And because there were so many kids, especially kids that there were some in like the older grades that know how to play, and then the 5th and 6th graders don't really know what they're doing yet. And so we had to make it so that every other Friday we have 5th and 6th on one Friday and 7th and 8th graders on the other Friday, and we go to both.
So these leaders attend every Friday, but then we broke it up so that we have the younger kids one Friday and then the older kids on another Friday.
Did you reach out to the high school volleyball teammates to have them
Yeah,
players come and
yeah.
do they come every Friday as well still?
Yes, they do.
That's great.
And sometimes the junior varsity coach will come as well to provide a little bit of assistance with the program.
Very impressive.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, like I said, it's a lot of kids. That's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
I know that
Good for
I
you.
get text messages all the time from Mrs. Morrison, and she's pretty much overwhelmed because that's a lot of kids, and the gym we can put 2 nets up,
Yeah.
but it's almost better only to put 1, and that way you have more room to have smaller groups working on bumping and setting
Right.
and learning the basic
Yeah.
skills. But now going into 2 separate groups, we're thinking that it'll help and it'll make it a little bit easier. One of the things that I really, really feel bad about is that these girls love to play like competitively, and they're not even getting that opportunity because they're so busy running the club and helping to do
They
everything
started.
that they don't actually play.
Sue, are there other middle schools that nobody has
No,
volleyball?
because if there was, we would have
Well, yeah,
probably tried
yeah.
to compete against other programs, but
Right.
they're not in the area.
So this is like a phenomenon, isn't it? I mean, it sounds,
So a lot of kids play all summer long, and we know that kids that have come from Puerto Rico, they play a lot in
Oh, yeah?
Puerto Rico.
I didn't know that.
One of the things that impressed me really was the very first day, I saw one of the girls walking down the hall, she had her little volleyball shorts on and was carrying her own ball. I'm like, that's a serious volleyball player. You know, like you dress the part and you've got your own, I mean, it was very impressive to
Yeah.
me. Whenever I saw how many kids showed up, it was, but in their goodness, they didn't want to turn anybody away.
Yeah.
We could have said this is only for 8th grade, or this
Right.
is only for 7th grade, 7th and 8th, but we opted to.
Anybody,
see,
yeah.
And they had
Great.
80 kids. Yeah.
Girls, I have 2 questions. So is it just the 4 of you who are kind of in charge that when you're there, and along with Ms. Morrison? And then is it just girls? I think you maybe said that. Or...
No, it's also some boys
Okay.
as well.
Okay.
We have, so we start with warm-ups because the high school gets out later than we do. So we get everybody in a circle and we warm them up. And then when the high schoolers come, they help us.
That's great.
Like
All right.
coaching could be in your future. I'm
Yeah.
very impressed.
Did you play this before, or is it new for any of you?
We never played on a team.
Yeah.
We just played together.
I mean, how is it different from playing in the backyard? You learn the real techniques, right?
Yeah.
Like what? Show me something.
Did you bring a ball?
I mean, you know when I used to play
Spike
with
it
just
right at 'em.
grown-ups would get together and make fools of themselves? You learn things like how you're supposed to hold your hand and all that, right? I never did that. And then what is this? Supposed to be like this? See? I know. Come on.
Really?
My girl.
Yeah.
So the other thing, too that's interesting is competitive volleyball, like at the high school level,
Yeah.
has positional play. So you
Oh,
might
yeah,
be
you got it
just
set up
better,
and all
or you
that.
might be the
Yeah.
spiker or
There's a lot
whatever.
to it, right?
So when you play
Yeah.
that format, it's 6-on-6. So if you have
have a lot of
6-on-6 playing, what are the other 70 kids doing?
Yeah,
That's when
yeah.
that,
Is that what it is, 6 and 6?
it's 6-on-6.
Okay.
When we used to offer volleyball before, we used to put 6 in a row, 6 in a row, 6 in a row.
Yeah.
And used to rotate the kids in their rows.
Right.
Yeah.
But you don't learn that
Right.
positional
Right,
play.
right.
These
Right.
girls are used to playing that positional
Yeah.
competitive volleyball.
That's great.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great program. Good for you guys.
I'm
Yeah.
the future for Fitchburg High volleyball,
Yeah.
even Monty Tech, is
Right.
this group of 8th grade girls that I see is they're good.
Terrific.
They're really going to help out the program.
Thank you,
Are
too.
you all 8th graders?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there somebody in 7th grade who will continue what you've done this year, next year?
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope.
Recruit them.
Well, you got to break somebody in, a couple of people in the 7th grade, right?
We should.
Yeah.
Succession planning. Right.
Do you need anything, Sue? Any balls, any more nets
No,
or
we're-
anything? In
we're-
good
that
shape?
Got all
was
you
one
need?
of the thing that's
The nets
great
on
about
on the
the,
picture, the nets seem to droop. You need
yeah,
new
they do.
nets?
It's not the nets, it's the way the standards are designed. We
Yeah,
can't
they're a
anchor
pain
the-
to set up.
Well,
Oh,
we
it-
can't anchor the standards to
It
the
moves,
floor.
they move.
Yeah, because usually
Yeah.
you put the whole pole like in the ground,
Right.
like in the
One
court.
of the systems that we had done in the past is we anchored them to the basketball rims and then down.
Yeah,
But if we do that, it has to be permanent. So I
Right.
have to put them up and not be able to use them for,
Yeah.
or it's gonna be volleyball for every gym class that
basketball
week, yeah.
season just ended. So I could do
Okay.
that for a week,
Yeah.
but to put them up and take them down every Friday with that system is.
It's not realistic, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to get up on a ladder every week.
Right.
So the basketball floor doesn't have that,
No, we
System
don't
that
have those.
goes into the
anchors.
floor.
We do
Yeah.
not have the anchors. So we just have the height and
Yeah.
we actually have kids that stand on the ends to make sure that they.
Well, you got 70
Keep it-
kids.
keep it taut, to keep it, yeah.
Move the net.
Yeah.
Okay.
Congratulations on your
I
success.
mean, we've always had plenty of equipment, the equipment, that's what makes this program easy to run, is we don't need equipment. The only thing we really needed was a coach, and Mr. Antossi provided that for us, so that was good.
Good.
Yeah.
Go get them, guys.
They have more
Okay.
change-making coming, I feel it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
We have to take pictures. Yeah.
That's also just a commentary. More after school programs.
Well, yeah.
If 70, and I didn't want to say that because I didn't want to take it, volleyball's great, but it also has something to say of like
You know,
Okay,
showing up.
do you,
moving,
Superintendent Jokola, could I ask you a question? Do you have a sense, like comparatively around our area? I mean, we were just talking about after-school programs. We must have one of the more robust athletic programs and after-school opportunities. I mean, that's just in my own thought process. I don't know if that's true, if anybody does like
I would probably
comparison.
say, I would probably agree with that statement, although I don't have any necessarily hard
Yeah,
data to
it might be
support it.
good in ours.
I think we do offer a lot more opportunities in after-school programming than our budding districts.
Yeah,
So,
maybe that's
yeah.
something we could look at and
Yeah.
support
Yeah.
comparatively.
Any anecdote of why it's such a huge success? Why, I mean, it seems like a phenomenon.
I guess the only thing I can say is it's student-led, and that's what the students were interested in having.
Yep.
And it's something that hasn't existed, and clearly they see a future playing volleyball at the high school level, and that's great. So,
Here's something I see, the city, Nate LaRose Recreation Department.
Mm-hmm.
This is something, he should pick up and capitalize
Good
on
point.
In the
and
summer, possibly.
do something for a summer program. Coolidge Park has a couple of courts that they can play on. They have,
Yeah.
So I wonder if we could ask the principal, since you're here, that would be, do you feel like there's an equitable after-school offerings for girls and boys? Like, do you feel like, have you noticed whether there are a lot of boys who are looking for more opportunities or a lot of, I don't,
It's mixed. I think that what's happening a lot now is we have so many programs that are running after school that are sort of niche interests, but kids who are interested in a whole array of things are finding themselves double booked.
yeah, okay.
So for example, we have our Diversity and Inclusion Alliance meets on Fridays, and then volleyball came up, and
Okay.
there was a lot of broken hearts because, kids have to choose.
Right.
And so we were able to find a different day so kids could make both. But our AV club's very popular. They meet one day, then there's yearbook and science society, and we have these whole slew of interests that are pretty equitable for boys and girls. We have a lot of kids who are interested in doing things after school, and our 21st Century program is fantastic, but the wait list is long.
Yeah. I'm glad you have other opportunities for them then, yeah.
It's great.
So if I can maybe just add, Jean, this past winter, as part of my entry plan, actually Adam Rendon, Craig Antossi started looking at the participation of students in after-school programming and in athletics. So it started, but
Okay.
it's
yeah,
kind of
good.
like, I'll say, the first layer of the onion we peeled off,
Yep.
so to speak. So we have a lot more to do and look at. But yeah, we want to provide robust programming that engage students.
Yep. That's good.
Hey, was there any thought of doing 2 afternoons a week? And maybe having 5th and 6th one afternoon and 7 and 8 on the Friday?
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot easier for us to offer another day now that basketball season's over. It was a little tough.
After the basketball season?
Yeah.
Maybe for the field
It's definitely an opportunity now.
Give the kids a lot more opportunity and could work with the 5th and 6th, and the 7th and 8th could work together.
That's next. That's coming
Craig, were
next
you
week.
running any volleyball at Lonjo?
We did during our regular phys ed classes,
Yeah.
but typically not after school.
After school, yeah.
Okay, moving on. All right, so next up we have Alexis Curry, principal of Goodrich Academy, with a couple of students, Cody Mosher and Deanna Capone, to talk about their community service learning program.
Peter, I gotta make a
Hello, everyone.
Hello?
Hi.
Good evening. I promised the kids I would apologize in advance for our attire. They just ripped us out of school, and that's where we're headed back to after this.
We're getting a break from school.
Yeah, they're right from school. One drove themselves and one I drove. So we just wanted to come in. Mr. McNamara is actually our history teacher, who, anyone who knows Mr. McNamara knows he refused to miss his class in order to come here and explain his involvement. But he is really the one that deserves the credit. He is the leader of the Community Service Initiative, and this component of which we call the Book Buddies program. Started out, Goodrich has always done on Fridays, because we have so many kids that work that don't attend school on Fridays. They do a community service component instead. And we've done things from fix up local parks to adopt parks to anything the city asked us to do for years and years. The Public Works Committee would tell us what they needed. This year we wanted to do something a little bit more meaningful. And well, actually last year we started it, and it's just built from there. And we decided that we wanted our kids to kind of share, mostly because they hated school so much, or a lot of them report that they really didn't like school and they like it so much now. Just seeing what we might be able to do to go in and make some kids happier. That's kind of the way we coined it. And from our community service group, we had several volunteers, and every Friday, about 6 to 8 students go, sometimes up to 10, go to South Street School, and they read books to, help in the class with, translate for students in the 1st grade and the 4th grade, 2 distinct classrooms that we've kind of taken. Kindergarten, sorry. St. George was
Sorry.
the 4th though, right?
Yes.
I'm all right. Kindergarten and 4th grade. And So the long and short of it is, we've enjoyed it greatly. Our kids have benefited from it. They love it. They get excited to go, and then we came to learn that the kids there get very excited. They anxiously await the arrival of these students. So we just wanted to come here and say that we're very proud of the Book Buddies program, and we wanted the kids to be able to share a few words about what it does for them or what they feel it accomplishes. So thank you.
Am I going first?
Do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. Hi, I'm Deanna. Nice to meet you guys. So Goodrich Academy has definitely changed my career. I will say that I was going towards veterinary assisting in animals, and then when I went to Goodrich, I had an opportunity to volunteer. I was actually going through a lot, and when I went to volunteer every Friday, it changed my life. Like, I love this career that I decided to go on. I want to be an elementary school teacher, and I would like to go to Mount Wachusett Community College. I love helping, absolutely love helping the kids. Some of them, you can just tell that they might not have enough, and you can give it to them and provide for them and give them the attention that they need. And some of the kids, like, they get along, and then there's those kids that are singled out. And for them to be excited every time it's heartwarming. And you know, one thing that I really like about it is them just being able to talk to me and basically, you know, teachers, some of the one, I don't want to, I'm nervous, sorry. No, you're doing great. You're fine. So basically, the fourth graders, I noticed one of the teachers, I'm hoping to do an internship from March to, I think it's May or June, or May, just to kind of make a little bit process going a little bit more, and because I love to do it. Yeah. And I've noticed some kids, like, they don't understand, and they can't, people who speak Spanish, those kids, like, can't comprehend a lot. So I like reading to them, and it's definitely, you know, helped us out a lot. And getting more kids, like freshmen and sophomores that come in, I kind of be like, let's go. Like, I would try to get more people involved and stuff like that. So you want to, I'll turn over to him.
I'll just say one more thing about Ian. She has, as she said, decided to go on to think she wants to become an elementary school teacher, and it has worked out famously there. So she's going to be taking on a full-time internship in addition to the community service, but she's going to be placed at Southeast with getting all the approvals necessary now.
South Street. Southeast is in that other district.
So once we get all of that in place, she'll be doing an internship there, and we're really excited about that.
That's great.
That's
fantastic.
What
Glad to hear
year?
that.
She's a senior.
I'm a senior.
All right.
I actually graduated in a couple weeks, technically.
Wow.
Finished all my classes, I should
Good for you.
say. Thank you.
She's not going anywhere.
No.
She might have finished, but she didn't.
You've looked into the Mount already?
Yeah, I mean, I've looked into a couple colleges. Obviously, like, it depends on, like, you know, education-wise, and like how many years I want to do, and where I want to go, and where I want to start, stuff like that. I actually done, like, babysitting and nannying, all that, like, basically my entire life. But, you know, I enjoy it very much.
Alexis, has she got any alumni scholarships?
Yes, everything's down there. I'm waiting for them. She needs to just decide we're deciding between a Fitchburg State, Mount Wachusett, so what she's doing, but yes, alumni is definitely in both of their futures.
Okay.
Well, the application for the alumni.
You get the alumni, get that in. First meeting of the year tomorrow night at my house.
That's right.
He's a good guy to know, I'm just saying.
He is.
No.
This is a lot more stressful.
Cody, you're fine. Right?
I'm Cody. And to add on what she was saying about the community service, we have been trying to incorporate a youth venture into it. And trying to raise money to buy, like, audiobooks and whatnot for the kindergartners, fourth grade. The action plan is, like, in the works. It's, like, not...
Nobody's
It's like-
prepared.
it's
So
not-
he's doing it all himself. That's what
Right. Yeah. Basically, like, I mean, he has, like, a presentation. It has, like,
Yeah.
basically, like, what we need to, like, provide, how we need to go about it, and so forth. But I think that, you know, one of the things that we need to really focus on, and I'm not just trying to help you out, you know what I'm saying? No, I get it. No, but I will say on Cody's behalf, he is one of the people that, you know, is definitely interacting with the kids, and I've noticed it too, like, because some of the new ones, they're a little afraid, and they can't really interact with, like, the kindergartners and the first grade, or the fourth graders, and he's definitely, like, stepped up to the plate and works with them and, you know, reads and helps them out with, like, problems, history, anywhere. So he's a very smart kid. And
If I remember the questions.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the questions from, like, third, fourth grade, you know,
Yeah.
but.
He can do anything. That's,
Yeah, so, I mean.
Sitting here tonight is
Yeah,
a big thing.
it's an honor for me to even be here and just like let you guys know that I appreciate like, you know, how you guys do your elementary school and how you guys like kind of coordinate different things, and I hope I can be a teacher someday. And
I just want to connect it, what Cody was referring to is back to the last group. We're part of Changemaker as well. So what the kids decided was, seeing some of they were bothered, tell me if I go wrong here, they were bothered, a lot of the kids, not just these two, but about the number of kids in the class and, you know, how hard it is for the teacher to get attention to people. And they were worried about the kids that struggle to read a lot, the ELs, or just kids that just struggle, or kids that's a second language, or whatever it is. So Cody and Deanna, and mostly Cody and Deanna, and the others are writing our proposal, have written a proposal, and we are going to be trying to raise funds, which we're doing already, and are going to be providing audiobooks to those two classrooms that we've been serving for any kids who struggle in that area. So that will be our change maker.
Great.
That's great.
Yes. Question. I just want to say, really, the honor is for us. I mean, to be able to hear from students and understand the valuable work that you do. So you should think of us like kindergartners or fourth graders. Sit and tell us your story. But so because it's during off hours for you, right?
Yeah, we actually go from like 10 to 12.
Fridays, we're there at 10 o'clock so that we can go.
Okay.
We're there at 10 o'clock.
Okay. All right. So
the day, I know what you mean, the nights are, Fridays are a different day, it's 10 to 3.
Okay.
Instead of the others.
Oh, good. I didn't
Because most of the
realize
kids
that.
are working.
And then do you have to provide transportation?
We do.
Yeah. Okay.
And we could thank everyone at the school for that.
Yeah.
While we're here.
Yeah.
Yes. As they call it, the caddy cab. We're riding around.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Alexis, do most students do internships at Goodrich?
No, we have, out of our 208 right now, we have 167 that work at least 25 hours. So we only have right now about 14 on internships.
Okay.
But we are always looking for internships and always looking. We just, in fact, had been without, there was a little lapse in the funding of the internship coordinator, so we just got one last week, actually. So we're hoping to get back on, but we've had some great internships all over the city already, so, and we're hoping more like this will build from it.
Is this the only school that you go to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's the closest.
Sure.
And we have to drive.
And might other schools like to, wish that they could have something like that?
I like it. I like that idea, personally. Just because, like...
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah. Let me just tell you something. No, but no, basically, like, I've actually, like, now that you bring it to my attention, I feel like that'd be, like, different because then, like, schools like us, like, alternative schools, they could also have that opportunity to go locally where they may be in school, and I like that. You know, I mean, I do
didn't
like
quite
working with those
understand
kids.
that. What was that idea again? What?
What you said you would.
Yeah, I know, but you just said
She likes
maybe
the
some of the other kids would have what?
Yeah, like other kids who are in alternative schools.
Yeah, your
they
school.
could have, right.
Yeah.
But, I mean, obviously, like, there's different talents and stuff. Like, is that what you meant by that? Like,
Yeah, anyway.
I would like going to, you know, different schools, but I also like this school because you get to work with the same kids and they can remember you. And then when you see them in second grade, they're like, you see them walking past hallways and you go, oh my God, like, I know you. And, like, it's just like that recognition of, like, you're always going to remember your kindergarten teacher. I remember Mr. Thompson, actually.
I don't remember
He
my
was my third grade teacher. So, just to put that out there. I remember, like, all my teachers. So it's definitely, like, you know, I enjoy just going to this school. So, based off of the paper.
And if we had more transportation, more kids and stuff, yes, I think, and I don't think that we're locked into one school, it's just we've already arranged it, it's been very successful, the kids are very happy there, but at some point, if another school were interested, we certainly, wouldn't matter to us what school we go to.
Yeah, I think they would love to have you. I know they love to have you, yeah.
Thank you.
Kids get really excited when we do, it's amazing.
Did you say this is the third year you've been doing this?
Yeah, we said they yell, the Goodrich kids are here, the Goodrich kids
They like to tackle you from time to time.
Oh, yeah. Especially when they go outside. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, God. I've been tackled before. It's not fun.
That's great.
How many years have you been doing this now? Is this the
This
first?
is the second year.
Second year, okay.
Second year. Yeah, we started it last year
Okay.
in September.
I hope a lot of people are watching this at home on TV. Because
Oh my gosh.
Well, no.
Don't remind me.
No, hey, it's all right. The reason,
Go back to school tonight.
the reason is, it's very impressive. It's very impressive what you and your fellow students are doing. And it's obvious from what you described that it has had an impact on the students in the kindergarten and the fourth grade classes that you meet with.
Right.
And my guess is it probably has had an impact on all of you as well. So I think it's,
Just as big an impact.
yeah, I think it's a great thing that you're doing, so thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
All set.
Okay.
Thank you all very
All
much.
right, thank you
Thank
guys
you.
for having me.
Thank
Nice
you.
to see you, Mrs. Thompson.
Nice to see you. Very proud of you. Keep
Still
it
picking
up.
up. Take care.
Okay. And we have Principal Lavoie from Memorial to talk about the field trip to Nature's Classroom.
That's my kids getting anxiety.
Oh.
Hello.
So I'm here on behalf of our Nature's Classroom field trip advisor, Karen Heineman, this evening. We are looking for permission to plan our annual trip to Charlton. There is a fully comprehensive program aligned to the Massachusetts state standards where kids will be able to participate in things related to all the domains of, or all core academic subjects, excuse me, and it is a 4-day, 3-night trip. The trip should really be very similar to the ones that we've done in years past. So at this point, we are just looking for permission to plan.
Okay. Go ahead.
Great, thanks.
I'll agree.
Make it so.
All right, thank you.
Can we vote on the motion?
Yeah,
Oh, you need
on
to vote on it? You want to vote on it? Let's vote on it? Yeah, we need to vote on
Make a
that, right?
motion to accept action item 20-1274, number 1920, to approve the Memorial fifth grade students to plan a trip to Nature's Classroom.
Second that motion.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All
I
opposed?
appreciate it.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next, Mr. Superintendent.
Okay, thank you. So next on the agenda, we have the first reading of the FY 2021 school calendar. We had a meeting with the FEA a couple weeks back to go over a couple options. After conversations with them and really a little bit of reflection on this year's calendar, which was a major change from prior years, as the half-days for professional development decreased from 10 to 4, and that had the intended effect of improving student attendance at our schools. So we had a conversation, looked at how the dates fell for the next school year, and present the calendar in front of you for first reading this evening. Like this year's calendar, it retains 4 early release days for professional development, and there are 2 early release days where there are no professional development. One on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and on the Wednesday before Christmas Eve. Actually, there's a discrepancy here. It says 12/23, and on the calendar
Yeah.
it says ER.
Yeah, early release.
Release.
Early release.
Yeah,
23rd.
23rd.
So actually, no, excuse me, that's right. I was looking at November. Excuse me, I take that back. And we have a new teacher orientation, again, before school starts on the 25th of August. So the first day of school would be Monday, August 31st. It would be a 4-day week with a 4-day weekend for Labor Day. And thereafter, the school calendar would continue as it did this year.
Has this document been shared with staff then? I know you said the FEA,
Yeah, we've met with the FEA exec board.
but does that mean it's gone out through email or as
They-
a draft to staff or anything?
They gave it their their blessing, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just a
Yeah,
Cur-
it's just-
Consultation, yeah.
We developed this with the help from the.
Yeah.
Yeah, collaboration.
But it's our decision.
It's our decision, right.
Okay, looks good.
No, I know it's our decision.
Yeah.
I just
but-
think
yeah.
you would like to.
Oh, yeah, no, and, well, yeah.
Of
and-
the
and-
people who work for you, right?
You know, and as I said, we wanted to have a conversation about what worked this year, and what were some of the challenges. And one of the challenges was that, finding time for professional development,
Right.
frankly.
And it's
that's-
been successful?
It has, but I think we're realizing that it's a challenge now. It's a trade-off.
What is the trade-off?
The trade-off is there's less time available for professional development with the 4 days. And even though we have 2 days dedicated to PD throughout the year now, 2 full days, it's not enough.
Yeah. And because how much follow-up is there after those 2 days, right? Like, how do
Right.
you get any deliverable? Like, do you feel like you've gotten some deliverables from PD?
I don't.
Listen, I don't
Yeah.
know if any district.
Yeah, I
really
don't know
gets
if,
it.
yeah,
I mean,
I think
that's
it's-
I'm
I think
just
it's-
asking if you guys.
Yeah,
know.
I think this is maybe working better than in prior years. I think one of the drawbacks of the previous calendar was on the 10 half-days, the school day was condensed, the PD was
Yeah.
condensed, so there wasn't maybe a lot of meat on the bones, so to speak, of the PD. And on those days, frankly, there were, some of our worst attendance days. So we changed it. The attendance this year is much better across the board. But I think with just the needs of our students and what we want to do to become the best urban district in the state, we all recognize that we need to find more PD time. And that's something that gets discussed the next time or in negotiations.
Because we had more at one time, and trying to do the finances, we cut back the number of PD days to do before school.
Yeah, and again, with staff, just natural staff retirement and turnover, we need to keep a steady level of PD and PD that's relevant to our students' needs. And I don't say there can never be enough, but we have to have the right timing of that and availability for our staff.
What makes it so hard is just the schedules, right? Like, just to really be able to pull in all 6th grade teachers, right?
Right.
Like,
Difficult.
Right.
And that's what that's
Right.
what really would be really beneficial, right?
Yeah.
With-
Well, and I think that's one of the things as we look ahead to next year, and I guess the logistics with, the Student Opportunity Act that we're going to talk about a little bit is, one of our, I'm going to say, goals would be to have times where, let's say all the 6th grade math teachers across the district could participate in PD. With the current tiered system and staggering of school start and dismissal times, it's very difficult to do. So if that's something that can be accomplished, we'll explore it.
Is that something that could be scheduled the 2 days before school actually starts, where you could have part of one of those days, all the math teachers get together? Or, I don't know.
I mean, that's a possibility. Right now, we have certain mandates that we need to.
Gotcha, okay,
do.
okay.
1 day's on annual compliance that has to be done.
Okay, gotcha.
And then the other day is kind of the building principal's way of, starting the school year off, going through their logistics for opening up the school,
Okay.
so.
Okay, I understand.
But it could happen.
Okay, yeah.
And some of the best PD ends up being not what you planned for at the beginning of the year. As you're walking through and you're noticing need, and you can plan for that need, in the middle of the year, sometimes that's the most effective.
Right, okay.
Which is what is really difficult to do, is to see what the need is in the moment and not have an early release day or a PD time for 2 months. You have to figure out other ways, which is what we struggle with.
Okay, great.
You want to vote on that?
So
Matt?
we can wait till
Till the
all the
end?
action
Okay,
items,
that's
yeah.
fine. All right.
I think next up we have Jeremy, and actually we're just going to use John's computer here. So when I presented the entry plan, I said we had some information on the high school graduation rate that was embargoed, and the embargo was officially released last week or the week before by DESE, and DESE is not continuing the practice of having a big press release of what graduation rates are. So we're taking the lead, and we're going to honk our own horn here a little bit. So Jeremy's going to give an update on how we ended up last year and talk about the trends and what we're doing. So
thank you. Thanks for having me. So yeah, I'll review some information relative to graduation rate and dropout rate data, which is approximately 20% of the high school accountability ratio. As you add it all up, it's about 20%, or maybe a little bit more. This isn't exactly, but we had a great year. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's a culmination of a lot of effort by teachers, counselors, families, students, a number of other folks that work with us, like our school resource officer, attendance folks. So, you know, as we look at the graduation rate, the state breaks it out by a number of different demographic groups for which we do have students represented.
Excuse me, Jeremy, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I didn't get the very first concept that you said, and it's on my mind. You said, what is it, 20% of what?
So with schools, there's a number of factors that are used to determine how effective the school is in this accountability ratio, which is a 1 to 99 ratio. And for high schools have, in addition to MCAS results, which all schools have, and attendance, high schools also have graduation rate, dropout rate, access to advanced coursework. So there's some additional factors. And interestingly enough, with graduation rate and dropout rate, the accountability for it is based on the previous school year, because it takes a long time for the state to figure out, you know, who graduated, because they don't necessarily go by just the flat graduation date that a school might have. For us, you know, May 29, 2020 this year. They'll use the summer school opportunity to get kids to a diploma over the course of a summer. I think they close the window right around October. Sometimes they change the date a little bit. So for us at Fitchburg High, 20% of that ratio, including MCAS results, attendance, access to higher, advanced coursework, ESL results, 20% of it is based on our graduation rate and dropout rate. And this other little factor called an engagement rate that's kind of tied to both of these. So we just got the grad rate, dropout rate about a month ago. Like Superintendent Jokola said, we were not able to share the results because I think, I'm not sure why exactly it was embargoed, because it comes out so late, but they hadn't released the information yet. I think it was last week that it was finally lifted, because I saw it posted to the Department of Ed site. Does that answer your question? Does that make sense?
I think the fault is mine.
No,
that 20%.
It's complicated a little bit.
Out of 100, what would the other 80% be?
About 60% is based on the MCAS scores.
Oh, I thought you said MCAS.
About 10% is the ESL performance on the ESL on a test called Access.
Okay, so you're going to be talking to us about 20% of the entire.
Yeah, so we have our first 20% is set for this coming accountability cycle. And more importantly, it's just more and more kids are graduating and fewer are dropping out, which is the really, that's the key. As you can see here, the 90% graduation rate for the overall class of 2019 is the highest we've ever seen. It's certainly a goal that we set many years back. When I first started, we wanted to try to get to the state average and then surpass it. We never had. And then really get to 90%. It was kind of a magical number, and I'll be honest with you, it seemed sort of like one that might never happen, but because it's very challenging for us. But we're really excited because for each one of our demographic groups, so what you see there is the 90% graduation rate, the total number of students in that class. So you have 70.1% graduation rate for ESL students, with 47 of the members of the class 2019 as ESL when they graduated. And that's what those, or ELL, yeah. Yes, English language learners, but the courses are called ESL, so yeah, ELL.
I didn't even know what the difference was anyway.
So you can kind of see how that broke out for us for the class 2019, and again, if you compare back 5 years, we've made progress to the point which not each one of those were the highest ever, but the overall was certainly the highest ever, and more or less everyone had improved from the previous year, certainly. And so other than the Asian subgroup, which has been pretty consistent, as you can see, a demographic group, I should say. Yeah, Jim.
Do the numbers for FHS graduation include the graduates from Goodrich Academy, or is that a separate number?
They do not.
They do not, okay.
No.
Separate, okay.
No,
Okay.
but I can tell you that our graduation rate is high as a result of the partnership that we have with Goodrich Academy. And looking at it, it looked to me like Goodrich Academy had the highest graduation rate of any so-called alternative high school in the state. In fact, surpassed 5 or 6 what you consider to be regular comprehensive high schools, which is amazing. I mean, quite frankly, I wish Alexis were here to see that.
Jeremy, what does the word cohort mean there?
It's the group.
Just group?
Yeah, just another word for group
Class.
of, the group of students in that particular class. So.
Those
but-
are phenomenal numbers.
They really are.
Yeah, I mean.
I just gotta say
So
that.
I guess, yeah, so we're really in 6 of the 8 categories, we're either tied or had all-time highs, or at least the last 5 years, right?
Absolutely. I mean,
Any group program.
Vis-a-vis ourselves.
No, I'm looking.
Vis-a-vis ourselves. But if you
Yes.
compare it to the state, great segue, we surpassed the state average for every one of our demographic groups. And, by quite a bit in certain instances. And again, we've been working towards this. There's been improvement. For the accountability targets, the most important one in terms of how they calculate the 10% for graduation rate is the all students and high needs. So you have to meet your target and then exceed it, which we did, and we improved. So, that's really good news. Though we didn't meet the target for a few, we definitely improved at least. So, and those don't drive the engine, so to speak, necessarily. They're part of the overall, but I would anticipate for these, there's a sort of maximum number of points they award. We certainly would have that. The targets are very high. I mean, for us, we have pretty high targets because we've done fairly well, especially, as we look at sort of other urban high schools and so forth. In looking at it now, I think we might have the highest graduation rate for what you consider to be a traditional urban high school for this particular year. From the information we looked at, that might have been 1 or 2 slightly higher. But yeah, I mean, we're really excited. And again, if you look at that state average, we certainly did the students, the staff, and the parents are a big part of this too, and working with plans, because for many of these kids, they got to come after school, they got to do different things like online courses, they have to commit to Saturday sessions, some of them went through the summer and finished up then because they weren't quite ready in June last year. So, it constitutes quite a bit of effort, for a lot of different people. And so I was really happy for the whole school and the class 2019 in particular. If you look at just sort of the overall trends, going back to 2009, so a 10-year snapshot there. Again, like I said, we always wanted to be able to meet the state average if possible, and hit that 90%. And certainly being able to surpass the state average, and for the first time ever, at least that we know of. As I was asked one time, well, how do you know about the class of 1914? Well, that's a good point. I can't speak to their grad rate back then, but for at least modern data that you can find, it's the highest we've ever seen.
Jeremy, the Jordan Levy, how would you say his name, show today spent.
Oh,
show
yeah.
was on the Worcester he was very unhappy with what was happening in Worcester.
Yeah, well,
People dropping out, you know, so.
Very impressed.
Exciting.
every school has its challenges. We have ours, and we just try to focus on those. And certainly, you know, the urban high schools do have different kind of challenges at times. And you know, so I am empathetic to hearing that. But for us, you know, we're really thrilled. You know, it's good news for kids. It gives them that, you know, as I say, every graduation, you now have something that no one can ever take away from you. And even in the summer graduates, though we don't have a ceremony for those students necessarily, we say the same thing. You just earn something no one can ever take away from you, a high school diploma, and that is worth something. You know, it's worth opportunities at jobs, it's worth opportunities in the military, and certainly gets you a foot in the door, you know, at the Mount or other types of colleges that you want to pursue. So that's graduation rate, and we can come back to it. So the dropout rate, similarly, we were really excited. We track dropout rate every day because it's based on withdrawals, and so we look at it very carefully, and we've had some strong results in recent years, but never quite this strong. You know, so we that constitutes 8 students who dropped out over the course of the year, and a dropout can happen in any grade. It can happen in any graduating class as long as the student is you know, attending and they stop coming and no one knows anything about it, or they officially declare that they drop out. It could be the freshman class right up through the senior year. So 8 students overall is certainly the lowest we've seen.
Lower than what Worcester had.
Yeah, well, it's as low as I've seen. I mean, you know, in terms of like looking at the information the state reviewed or released, I should say, you know, it's definitely very low. And again, that's the partnership with Goodrich is significant. I mean, you know, having the capacity to work together in a district that has the vision for all students, I mean, I think makes a huge difference. Because you just heard from 2 outstanding students. They weren't from Fitchburg High. At least I didn't recognize them. But you know, they're having success in a place that suits what they need at that particular time in their life. So we have many students who take advantage of that, and they're not dropouts. They're continuing their education. They're able to do the things like we heard from these 2 tonight. So again, you can see the state averages for this year, and in the green means that we surpassed that, and actually even on every accountability target we surpassed it. So you know, really excited about that, and certainly you can see the trend line. You know, we've hovered around the state average and even been below it a few times, but getting to, you know, significantly below it is certainly not something that we've ever done. And again, it really is a huge collective effort. It's guidance counselors, it's the VPs, it's teachers, it's parents who are on board with sort of the plan to try to engage someone. You know, it's the students themselves, it's everybody. I mean, it's the whole coaches, nurses, everybody that has a position in Fitchburg High, really connected with the school, you know, can have an impact and does have an impact in many ways. So, again, that 8 students is a failure on our part. We never want to have 1, but overall our progress is really strong there, and we're making it difficult for students to make that kind of decision that I'm going to stop going to school. So
8 out of how many?
well, the overall, like if you added up every student that had been enrolled at some point over the course of the year, probably about 1,370. I think. Oh, I should speak closer. Because it's enrollment, you know, including withdrawals, entrances, and so it's a...
So how do you know they've actually dropped out, Jeremy? They didn't just move. You know what I mean?
So that's often what will finally happen. So we keep a monthly Google Excel that's shared with about 15 people. So that'd be guidance counselors, the assistant principals, school resource officers, some of the clerical staff. Actually, I forgot to mention them. They have a huge role in this. Number of other folks, and so the student will, you know, if they move, for example, to Lowell or Worcester or something like that, then if they don't enroll in that school, then we're charged with a dropout. So what we do is we keep calling the school. We keep following up on them to make sure that they're enrolling, to call the families, to connect with the school they should have enrolled in, at least by verbally notifying us when they signed out, with their parent. So that's very rare now for a student to sign up. Now, if they move out of state or if they move to another country, that's no longer a dropout. It's just a transfer out, it's a withdrawal, because at that point, we don't have access to California public school systems in terms of being able to track it through the student information systems. The other the most common battle that we will face is students who just aren't coming to school. They're enrolled.
Still living at home, the
Yep,
same
they're
place,
at
same
home.
address, they're just not coming to school.
Yep, so we send out a few folks to visit, frequently. The school resource officer does that, and then Mr. Raff does that. They were doing it today for a couple of hours, and they just start knocking on doors, and they try to get people to come in for a meeting and sit down with guidance counselor, assistant principal. Let's come up with a plan. Let's figure out what needs to be done, why you're not coming, how we can get you back engaged. But that's a everyday, kind of challenge for a number of our staff. And again, we just try to make it so that it's almost impossible to drop out. We'll go over options. We'll talk about Goodrich. We'll talk about online classes. We'll talk about attendance recovery if they feel like they lost credit. We'll say, no, you haven't lost credit. We're going to work with you. Let's do some things. A lot of times it's there's some social emotional things happening. Try to figure out counseling. I mean, it's a multi-layered approach, really. And we try to support the families too, because often in those instances there are some compelling reasons as to why they might not be coming, and we try to help with that if we can. So
just to follow up, so if parents come in and say, we're moving to North Adams, Johnny's not going to be in school after Friday.
Yeah.
Until you find out if he's actually enrolled in North Adams, then that's considered one dropout for Fitchburg High.
It's a transfer
okay.
for a certain period of time.
Okay.
But what will happen at Drury High School in North Adams is that they'll contact us at a certain point.
Gotcha. Okay.
And confirm that they in fact did register. Okay. What happens is we keep that log, and our clerical person, Nancy Orsini, will contact. If we haven't heard anything after a period of time, she'll call. Then she'll call again. She'll try and get in touch with the last known number that we had for the family. And, we need those layers in place to kind of stay on that. But we instituted the Google Excel to share the information with about 15 people and we bring it up every month. We look at it every month in a couple of different ways, a couple of different meetings, I should say. Because, we sometimes will have a student enroll for 2 or 3 days, then they're gone. So nobody knows the person yet. It's not like there were any relationships formed. Those are tough ones, so we have to make sure we have records in order to really follow up on those kind of quick enrollments, quickly gone type of scenarios that do happen to us, somewhat frequently.
What about going into the military, dropping out to go into the military? Is that considered dropout?
Well, they need a diploma is the thing. And even the GED, though accepted, is not accepted in all branches. So we've been fortunate. We instituted the STAR program, which is sort of like one step below a full junior ROTC program, which we are trying to get. It takes a number of years, but that engages, I would say, 40 to 50 students pretty regularly, and their whole focus with the guys from the Army is get your diploma, get your grades up, attendance, grades, behavior. They just stay focused on that with the kids, and they reiterate the message. You need a high school diploma. You want to join the Army, you're not getting in if you drop out. So it's a pretty high mark there.
I would just say, the culture is huge. I have 2 kids at the high school, so I'm around a fair amount of high school kids, and you hear it often. I can't miss. We can't. And that is definitely how they feel, and that's great. And that they have something that they want to go to, right? That's another key piece of this. But how much do you think So I know somebody who said, well, that was a really strong class. Like, how much of this is there a variance from like a really strong class versus not a really strong class? Or do you think, because I think that everything institutionally is there, but what happens when you just happen to get a tough group that comes through?
Sure. I mean, I'll go back to this slide as just a maybe something to emphasize. You know, we're going to have in every group of 273 or more now, students who are right there, day one. You know, you could give them the diploma probably first day of freshman year. They know what they want. They're going to work towards it. It's a sure bet, if there ever is such a thing. There's a certain group like that. There's a certain group of kids that they're going to graduate, but they don't have a focus yet. They're trying to figure that out. They're 14, you know. I mean, let's face it. I sometimes wonder what I want to do when I'm almost 50. So at 14, it's you know. Then there are a group, you know, a number of students who, in every class, they're pulled in a lot of different directions, and a high school diploma seems like overwhelming. It seems like something that, and it isn't necessarily something that is a focus outside of school. You know, it's not you will do this, you're going to do that, you're going to have to get this, because there's other challenges, there's other things going on that are hard to know. You know, but certainly we know that can get in the way too. So as we look at our graduating classes, every one of those classes had that. You know, I think to your point, what we've really tried to build a strong kind of culture and progress around the idea that there is no, the options are college, military, career with a high school diploma. And we start saying that from their first freshman class meeting to every single one right on through. And everybody says it. You know, we try to reiterate that over and over and over again to make it so that, you know, high school diploma is like, that's definite, because I'm going on to these other things. And I'm going to need that to be able to do those other things. Not perfect. 90.1 is not 100%, and there are schools with 100% graduation rate. So, but that said, I mean, it is a strong, you know, indication, I think, of what's going on with so many folks at Fitchburg High.
Thank you.
It's fantastic.
Very good. Very impressive.
Thanks a lot.
Congrats.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks
Yes,
a
it's
lot.
great news.
We're excited about it. Thank you.
Oh, could I just ask one other thing? So excused absences, that still counts against you, right?
It does, yes. Yeah.
Like, so when people go, I mean, there are quite a bit of excused absences, right? Like, does that factor into like what you decide about how many you allow, or like what about? I mean, my other thought is like, there are kids who will go who are sick, right? Because they have to go. They know they have to go. It's just, I mean, we live in a world of data that is sometimes kind of, I don't know if I'm not even making sense, except that I wonder, like, how you function like that when the world does sometimes require that you're out. Like, if you're going to go to a college visit, or if you're going to go on,
Yeah, we excuse certain absences like that. College visits certainly would be. To your point, an absence is an absence.
Yeah, okay.
You know, as it's recorded for us in terms of that chronic absentee rate.
Yeah.
That's 18. We allow 16 unexcused absences. You know, over the course of the year, a student can have 4 a quarter where they're sick, they're homesick. We don't need you to go to the doctor. We trust you. You know, you have a small fever, or you have whatever's going on. Just that's unexcused. And if it gets to a point where, you know, we take it case by case too, you know, where there are situations that will come up where, you know, family has a hard time getting to the doctor and this kind of thing, and they're at 18, and we might work with them around that. But we do excuse about 5 or 6 different categories of absences: bereavement, college or professional visits. That could be a workforce opportunity. It might be a military meeting. Certainly any kind of documented appointment so a medical appointment of some sort or other types of things, we definitely excuse those and just take it. So if you had 15 absences and you had 3 of those, you really had 12. So again, like you said, we have to work within that framework. What I do know is anyone with more than 18 absences, generally the data is not very good. The grades are not very good. There's aberrations. I mean, there's anomalies, certainly, but usually the grades are not good. There's other problems there. That's sort of a general, finding that we see.
Jeremy, is there a reason why you have the Washington Post there? Was there anything about Fitchburg High in the Washington Post?
Oh, we've had, they used to do the most challenging high schools. They've kind of stopped for some reason. I should probably update this. And we had made it 4 years consecutively, which just indicates that by a calculation that they have, it's in the top 2,500 out of the 35,000 high schools or so that they look at in terms of like the offerings are what are considered to be of high rigor and students are accessing it. So it's not just exclusive to a particular demographic group or something. Anyone is available to it, and so we were really excited about that too. Because that was a lot of work as well.
Jeremy, if somebody's home on a medical and they're getting tutoring,
are
they counted as absent?
Well, those can be actually counted as present if there's tutoring provided by the district, because there's some kind of legitimate factor happening. The e-tutored code that we use for that is counting it as a present for that. Now, there's not many of those typically, but it's appropriate because the student is doing work. They're not able to be at the school at that time, and there's a particular plan in place with some kind of personnel from the school that's doing the tutoring for English, math, whatever the subjects are. Yeah.
Jeremy, do you have many computer students that are graduating from another outside source?
Online, you mean?
Online.
I don't know, because I could look to see where students who have withdraw to.
No, I mean in place. Do you have an online component in the high school?
We do, yeah. Oh, okay, so we do. It's called Edgenuity. That's the program that the district has, and it offers online courses that count for initial credit, sometimes credit recovery. So our course is a year-long course is worth 1 credit. So an Edgenuity class in, say, English 10 would be worth 1 credit. We run it after school every day, Monday through Thursday. And then we do it, the student can do it at home, too. We find that having some structure with it is important for a lot of kids because, I tried doing an online course for a grad course and found it to be, I just didn't have the discipline for it, I'll be honest with you. So, and I would go to school, and that kind of stuff. Like I have some discipline, but I was not good at that. So we realized that many of our students we were assigning those to were not doing well if just being assigned the class. So we do it after school, and then on Saturdays, we start Saturday school up as well.
Mr. High has several in school, and they would go to classrooms, like 3 or 4 different kids taking a course from France and a course from here or there.
Yeah, we don't have virtual high school.
Really sharp kids.
There are programs like that. Some of our kids do it during the day, too. I mean, they work on their Edgenuity classes whenever they can, and they'll do it during the day. But there is a virtual high school type of program, too, that many schools do. We have Edgenuity. That's worked really well for us, and the menu on it is huge. I mean, if a student wants to enrich on a course we don't offer, it's likely in their menu. And we've had some students do that, for sure.
Thank you.
All right, thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, so John and I are going to give you a little bit of an update on Student Opportunity Act. I'll say this is a work in progress. We still don't have some final guidance from DESE, but we have enough of a framework from them to share with you tonight and give you an update on what we're already doing. Tonight is not a recommendation of what we will be presenting on I think the end of the month. We agreed to move the March 16th school committee to March 30th to allow us extra time to do all our public meetings, and we'll talk about this. Okay. So there are 4 categories that I'm first going to go through tonight with you, and the items that are highlighted they'll be highlighted in either dark green that we're already doing, I'll say with a high degree of fidelity, and light green will indicate that we're in process on some of these. So these are areas recommended for investment under the SOA. There are 17 of them, and then there are 10 evidence-based practices. So not to say that we're going to go through all 27 one by one, because there is overlap between the 17 and the 10. The 17 is just a little bit more detailed, and they're broken up into 4 categories. So to start off, the first category is enhanced core instruction. And
I know, Meredith.
the person who had contacted you about their early childhood. So that's one of the, I'll say, priority items of the commissioner that he, I guess, would like to see. But that doesn't mean it's a requirement. And that's the indication, both in bold and the asterisk, indicates that they are recommended by the commissioner. So that's something that requires a lot of logistics involved in increasing our pre-kindergarten for our 4-year-olds. I'll be up front. We have some space limitations right now with our current school footprint, and just looking at what we would have to add in terms of at least probably another 9 teachers and paras and finding space would eat up a good portion of the $2.1 million that we'll be applying for, submitting the grant for at the end of next month. The research-based literacy programs in pre-K and early elementary grades, that's something we're doing, John?
Yeah, so right now we're looking at the new research that's out there. Currently, we have a balanced literacy approach that we use in the district, and the new research out there talks about a structured literacy approach. So what we've done is we have actually formed a committee of elementary teachers to start evaluating our curriculum resources for reading at the elementary level, and we're hoping to make some changes based on the current evidence-based research. So we've started a committee, and we're looking at that now.
The next item, the early college programs focused on students underrepresented in higher education. A couple of school committee meetings ago, Jeremy presented with a couple of early college students. That's a big focus of the Commonwealth. Again, kind of using some of the themes from the entry report of providing access and equity and opportunity for our students, and that's not just in Fitchburg but across the Commonwealth, is a priority, and that's something that is in dark green, and we're very actively involved on that front.
Yeah, so number 4 is supporting educators to implement high-quality aligned curriculum. So one of the things that we're trying to do here in Fitchburg is actually have an ongoing cycle of professional development happening throughout the district throughout the year. So we're currently looking at that right now at the district level, and in addition to that, some of the feedback we received our teachers really want specific curriculum, professional development aligned to the programs that we use. So for example, for mathematics, we use Eureka Math. Teachers are asking for specific professional development geared towards the curriculum products that we use. So we're currently investigating that at all levels.
Okay, and lastly, under this category, the expanded access to career voc tech, including After Dark. And this is really partnerships or collaborations between traditional high schools and local vocational technical high schools. We are in conversations with Monty Tech about how to create additional programming. I'll say it's very early stages. We've had a few meetings over the last year, and again, there's logistical issues in terms of how our day is scheduled at Fitchburg High School and also how Monty Tech runs their schedule. Transportation is another issue, but clearly now with the demand for voc tech skills, the state can't build enough voc tech schools, and the state won't build any more voc tech schools just to meet the demand. And I think to meet the needs, but also provide our kids a career track that otherwise they would not have had, because many students aren't able to be accepted into the local voc tech school. Voc tech schools are now becoming much more open to collaboration with traditional high schools, and that's a big win for our students.
Absolutely.
So stay tuned on that. Then targeted student supports.
Yeah, so one of the initiatives that we've had going on in the district was around inclusion co-teaching support for our students with disabilities and our English learners. So we've had ongoing support around inclusion and co-teaching for teachers, but one of the things that one of the issues that we have in Fitchburg is our turnover rate for teachers, right? So we are currently hiring new teachers every year, so we have to have an ongoing mechanism to continue to train our teachers around inclusion and co-teaching. So that's one thing we're exploring, specifically around professional development for teachers around co-teaching special education students in addition to ELF students.
Why do we have such high turnover for teachers?
Some of it is, one of the things I heard compared us in Fitchburg when I first started was Fitchburg is a really great JV team. We do a really great job preparing our new teachers, and then once that happens, they go elsewhere to find new jobs. For a variety of reasons. One, for more money, different school district, different population of students, number of reasons why.
Life changes.
Life changes. Moving, so there's a lot of factors. So because of our turnover rate, we have to have a mechanism to continue to train our staff.
The next item here, the Acceleration Academies or Summer Learning for advanced learners. That's something that we have not yet looked at, and that's why it's in just a normal font. Moving on, increased personnel and services to support holistic student needs, social emotional learning, kind of code for that. And then as you just heard from Jeremy, the dropout prevention and recovery programs, the work that Fitchburg High School and their staff are doing, along with Goodrich Academy and the partnership there, we're already doing that. Talent development, as John was just saying, there's two things under here that we are doing. One is like all or very many school districts across the Commonwealth, trying to diversify our workforce. From our entry plan, our teachers are 97% white. Our students population is really 71% students of color. So we just received a grant that'll allow some current staff to get the MTEL test paid for. Yep. It's a start, and again, trying to make the school district more attractive for diverse candidates is both a short and a long-term goal. One of the things that we have been doing over the last year is trying to further develop our I'll say our new leaders and leadership teams across the district. We started a Lynch Leadership Micro Academy in the schools where we have 13 staff members participating from all our schools. The program that's focused on urban education and developing leaders for urban education. Adam Renda and Casey Bolak are both
fellows.
I wanted to use the right term of the program, and really their focus on, I'll say, contemporary urban needs and urban leadership was really the factors that we selected this program this year. And our principals or the participants are also receiving an individual coaching from that as well to help them become better leaders. But in addition to the pipeline development, we're collaborating with 3 other school districts on a BAR grant. So it's Leominster, Gardner, and Winchendon on that one?
Yes.
And we have a meeting in Boston next Friday to learn more about that.
Right.
What does that mean? You're cooperating with them on what?
It's a collaboration.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. It's a collaboration. A lot of grants now, because the school districts in this part of the state are smaller, so to gain scale, we're collaborating. So when you have Fitchburg alone, we're not as attractive to some of these private funders, but when you add Fitchburg, Leominster, Gardner, and Winchendon, you know, I'm just kind of estimating here, that's probably close to 15,000 students, and
Yeah, and they suffer from the same issues that we do. They have high teacher turnover. They're great JV teams. Teachers get trained. We spend a lot investing in them, and then they they head east.
Yeah.
To make more money. So this
Collaboration will do what for you?
Well, it's to create a pathway to leadership. So teachers who are interested in becoming leaders or coaches or there will be stepping stones rather than jumping from a teacher to assistant principal, which is a big jump. Having done it, and I think many of us in this room did, that's a big jump. So if we can have help create a pathway to get leadership experience without getting full administration. Right. Yeah.
And it also could keep a lot of teachers in the district to have this type of pathway.
Right. It creates
for them
opportunity.
to advance their career, so.
Well, and with all the staff leadership transitions that happened last year, I think there was a number of teachers who saw potential opportunity here because for many years there hadn't been a lot of transition, so there wasn't a lot of opportunity to move up and pursue an assistant principal or principalship opportunity. And now over the last, I'll say over the last year, we've seen more teachers, apply to be licensed as principals and administrators. So I think that's a good sign because, we need to be able to play, have a wide or big bench because it just can't be the work of a principal at a school. It really is a team approach.
It's a great way to to create a distributed leadership model within the school and the district.
And I think that's great. I think that what you want are those really veteran, talented,
those teacher leaders,
quality teachers to stay teaching too, right? So it's you can only have a certain amount of people go into administration. So if there are ways to really kind of improve the experience here, and whether that can be teacher leader roles, or maybe they can take on more professional development that they conduct, because that, as teacher evaluation, you have to be able to model something to be at your highest rating. And so I think that if there were opportunities to do that a little bit, because only so many people, and really they're very different skill sets, right? The administrator versus the teacher. So I think that is a real problem inherent in education.
Sure.
That where do you move? If you're really, your goal is quality classroom education, then you're not going to want to necessarily be an administrator, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And I don't mean that like that's not everybody's goal.
No. Yeah.
You know what I mean, like that. So anyway,
this year we've tried kind of a little bit of out of the box approach in terms of having teacher leaders or teachers on special assignment.
Yeah.
Especially, focused on ELL students this year, where the needs are across the district. So I think we've had some success doing that, and hopefully that'll show up, in this year and in future years.
Right.
But I think it's really trying to put the talented people in front of the students and make sure the students have the best person in front of them. So whether it's the full-time classroom teacher or, an interventionist or a specialist, helping the students.
Yep.
So however that happens, I say I'm not married to any particular model of, the past, present, or future. It's about what are the students' needs. And I think that's what we'll always try to be as creative as possible to meet those needs. So just moving on here, we have, again, the next two items on the list are not necessarily anything that we're actively doing right now, but again, these are options in the SOA. Increased staffing to expand student access to arts, athletics, enrichment, strategic scheduling to enable common planning time for teachers. With the conversations so far with the FEA on a real comprehensive level, that's probably something that will be addressed in the next contract. So that'll probably be year 2 of the SOA is something that we would look to expand that conversation there. And then really, as we were just talking about strategies to recruit and retain educators, administrators, and hard-to-staff schools and positions, part of that may be more creative roles of teaching staff, where they're maybe not necessarily a coach, but they want to be a teacher leader and they want to go into a school and kind of put in some systems and, get a classroom up and running and, work with a particular teacher and then leave and move on to another school. Conditions for student success is the last of the 4 categories. The community partnership for in-school enrichment and wraparound services.
Yeah, so this year we've partnered with the local stewards group out of Newview. So we've worked with them pretty extensively this year to help support that collaboration piece. In addition to the other community partnerships, we also have different partnerships when it comes to counseling services for students. So we want to continue to improve those wraparound services for our students and throughout the community.
Yeah, I mean, we can't do it alone, and we rely on I'd say a vast partnership network, but partners who play a critical role in meeting our students' needs and providing those wraparound services. The next item with parent-teacher home visiting programs, we don't have one
like
at this time.
Program.
Yeah, formal one.
Right.
I think as you heard Jeremy talk about trying to find out reasons why students aren't coming to school. Schools are trying to meet with the parents. It's one of the recommended items here, or one of the options, and again, one that's not formally in place at this time.
So, currently we do have that happening. Our guidance counselors, our assistant principals, with the help and support from our school resource officers, they are going out to homes for students who have some type of attendance issues or some SEL issues. So it is happening, but we don't have a formalized any program in our schools right now.
Then, as we were talking about the calendar earlier tonight, the labor management partnership to improve student performance, clearly, some of the results that we're seeing so far on student attendance, which is a component of the accountability score. In K through 8 schools, it's 10%. At the high school, it's only 5%. As we were talking about percents earlier tonight. And again, the staff and FEA leaders at the various schools are involved in many of the schools' instructional leadership teams. And we, as cabinet, have been going out to meet with each school's teams and really giving teacher voice and participation to adjust, where we're at right now and, work on developing joint solutions. And lastly, just, facilities improvements, and that's something that, with Craig, we're like Santa Claus, we're making our list here and checking it twice. So we have some plans in process there that we're working on.
So before you get into that,
Yep.
Bob.
Yep.
So those 17 conditions, those were outlined by our commissioner saying these are 17 evidence-based areas where you can use, the SOA funds. Okay, that's from our commissioner. These 9 that we're going to talk about next are actually what's in the Opportunity Act, what's written in there. So those 17 actually connect to these 9 up here.
So again, like with the other 4 categories, just tried to highlight in green what we're already doing. And again, with the Student Opportunity Act, it can be an expansion of current activities too as well. It doesn't necessarily mean it has to be something new. So if we're already doing something that meets this criteria, we can continue, add to that. So just kind of go through them quickly. So expanded learning time in the form of a longer school day or year. That's something that probably will discuss at the next contract negotiations. There's just 1 year left. Next year's the last year of the current 3-year contract with the FEA. Increased opportunity for common planning time for teachers. I'd say there may be some instances this year coming up. We do have kind of an arrangement with the staff here at Memorial where they receive the school redesign grant, and it's something that we're looking at. Again, some of these are duplicative of what we just went over. The social services to support students' social, emotional, and physical health. We're doing that.
May I just ask you something?
Sure.
The one there where it says increased opportunity for common planning time for teachers. So that means together, or does it mean you want to see each teacher be happy about the time that they have to prepare, or are we being encouraged for them to work in a group?
Yeah, so right now, teachers have at least 45 minutes a day for common planning time.
For planning,
For
or common planning?
For planning time.
Right, right.
So this would be common planning time, which would,
In addition to the
it would be in addition to what they have, and that could be collaborating with other teachers.
Well, then does it go along with that you would have, like, say, maybe 4 teachers would be a group?
Yeah.
That would work together?
Yes.
It could also mean not necessarily 4 English teachers, could be 4 teachers in different subject categories.
Right,
working
for a
together.
grade level team.
Or
Yeah.
different schools.
Or different schools, yeah.
Okay.
Variety of
Yeah.
things.
Lots of possibilities.
Again, hiring school personnel that best support improved student performance. Again, one of the things, or a couple of the areas that we're looking at, adding staff are in the ESL, with the growth of English as second language or English language learners, and also, students' social emotional learning needs. That was based on the staff surveys, which we'll talk a little bit more about at Thursday's Student Support Subcommittee. That was the #1 calibrated response of both the administrators and separately of the coaches. We did 2 polls, so consensus recommendation there. Increased or improved professional development, as we were just talking about the staff, the needs of the students, but also with the turnover and really the need to continually invest in professional development. And, Gene, I think you said, you asked a question earlier, and, there are, I think, nationally billions of dollars spent on professional development, right? And what sticks and what's impactful. And, over the last few months, we've been meeting with, leaders and, educational leaders. John Safir is one who did some PD for the administrators in both Fitchburg and Leominster last summer. We've had some conversations with him, and we're also looking at some other vendors to see how we can bring, kind of best-in-class training to our staff. So, the curriculum materials and equipment that are aligned with statewide curriculum frameworks.
Yeah, so we're continuing to do that. We're evaluating all our programs that are used at all levels, elementary, middle, and high school, to make sure they're evidence-based. There's a big push to make sure the curriculum we are using is evidence-based now. So we're currently evaluating that, and hopefully we'll make some recommendations for purchases in the future.
So the early education and pre-K, we spoke about that earlier, diversifying the educator and administrator workforce, again, spoke about that earlier. Developing additional pathways to strengthen college and career readiness. Earlier, we spoke about the early college program that Jeremy and a couple students had come before the school committee recently, but also preparing students for career readiness. Whether it's potential after dark program with the local vocational trade school. Jeremy and the high school are applying for innovative career pathway grants with DESE. And also, I think, and then there's another Barr Foundation grant for Portrait of a Graduate, which again is another collaborative grant effort with the same districts, Leominster, Gardner, and Winchendon, which is being facilitated by Mount Wachusett Community College. So that's another program, although not that Portrait of a Graduate is a separate private grant, not Student Opportunity Act. It's still the same intent. And lastly, the commissioner said to superintendents at the winter meeting, well, and if you have anything else that you think will work, I'm willing to take a look at it. So,
Okay.
so again, the next part of this is really just kind of summarize. It is a grant application. We have to complete the checklist, so to speak. But again, just to try to summarize, because I submitted or shared with you the PowerPoint presentation back, I think it was on February 6th, the conference call that we had with the Commissioner's office. The focus on our student subgroups. The goal is to narrow the achievement and opportunity gaps and, provide and improve access, opportunity, and equity. So that's, our students with disabilities, our English language learners, our high-need students. That's our focus. Two, using, resources and evidence-based programs to close those gaps. It's, 1 and 2 go hand in hand. Then again, this year we've purchased tools. One tool that we've purchased is the iReady program. And this morning we met with the statewide system of support, which is the state's, turnaround advisory group. I'm trying to.
I think that's a good description.
That's a good, accurate description. And, and as Jeremy is here earlier tonight, he was one of the principals who met with them, and he said that's been one of the best tools to use for data and data monitoring and also taking action.
Which one, the turnaround thing?
iReady is, iReady system,
That's the assessment system we're using right now for math and ELA.
And again, engaging all families, it's something that we've started, over the last year, trying to be more accessible to the community. It started a little bit with, or some of the steps taken were the videos last summer with the new staff. We have a lot more of our material on the website in Spanish as well. We're working with the community stewards. Actually, tonight Eva Kelly is at another event with a Chennai 9 network. We're trying to get more engaged with the families to give our students not only give them a reason to come to school, but that feel that they all belong in our schools.
So these 4 areas are the headings for each of the areas that we will actually write our grant. So we need to answer the questions that go along with these areas.
Do you keep data on, or do principals keep data on response to parent requests, email, time? Are there any directives or goals in the schools about how long the expectation would be to respond to some concern, or being aware of that concern?
Turnaround, like customer responsiveness?
Yeah, basically customer service.
It's usually 24 hours. Yeah. That's what it's actually, I think that's exactly the language in the
But who's
contract.
measuring that, John? Because I don't
Who's
think
following
that's...
that? So right.
Yeah.
A principal wouldn't know unless a parent's call the
Complaining.
principal or sent an email saying, I emailed such and such teacher 2 days ago and I still haven't had a
Do you
response.
feel like that is the culture of the teaching staff and administrative staff? That they start a year saying, hey, we're committed to reaching out, having a 24-hour, 48-hour response time? I'm just curious.
I mean, in my past history being the principal at South Street, I never had a parent complain to me that they weren't being, a teacher wasn't returning their phone call or email. I'm not sure throughout the district, Adam or Craig, I don't know if that's ever happened before. Usually we have pretty good, in my history at least, we've had pretty good
I think it's pretty strong, but life happens, and
things do happen.
I'm sure there's times where administration isn't getting back to parents within 24 hours.
Or if parents are being directed to the right person. I think that's another...
Well, I think that's the tough thing, right? When someone calls the school, they ask for the principal.
Right.
Almost every time, right? When there's an issue. And then, getting them to the person that's actually going to be helping, whether that's an administrator or most of the time it's, getting in touch with the classroom teacher first.
Yeah.
Right? Because if it was if an issue with homework, right? You need to talk to the teacher before you talk to the principal. So For me, most of the issues, at least when I was in a building, and what I've heard this year being in all the buildings, is that someone might call, ask for the principal, but it's really an issue that a teacher or an assistant principal is more apt to handle.
Yeah, I don't think it's always so, I don't know, understood by parents, like how they can reach out. I mean, everybody should know, right, that what the web address is, but you don't often know like a teacher's first name. So I might know Shalafu, but I don't know Craig, right? So like, and our website isn't always very clear and intuitive about how you would get in touch with a teacher.
Well, Longshow's actually using the Remind app. So a notice went home, and for just parents log onto it, kids don't. And so there can be two-way dialogue from
That's
the teacher.
nice.
It really is, and now not every parent uses it, but the ones who do seem to really like it.
And every teacher uses it?
I believe most teachers. I don't want to say every because I'm not 100% sure, but I believe most at Longshow do.
So again, it's another tool that we're trying out to see what works. You know, we know that it's an area for improvement, and because I know it's an issue that you know you've raised, and really to try to have two-way communication versus just one way.
Yeah.
And I think we're on the curve of doing more. You know, I think we're trying to improve our responsiveness. And, you know, as Adam said, and Craig and John, sometimes life happens, and sometimes either we don't
Right,
get the
of
message or the
course.
right person doesn't get the message.
Right.
That's key. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time to find out what the situation is.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, I'll give you, for instance, I had a parent email me today about a fourth grader at Crocker and an issue, and you know, I haven't been at Crocker for a couple of years.
Right.
So I sent that email over to Mr. Bolak, and I know he called right away, but I mean, that if I hadn't had done that, he would have never known there was an issue.
Right.
You know, but we've been talking a lot this year in all the schools about giving parents the opportunity to parent by, you know, getting in touch with them and letting them know what's going on, and we can certainly get better at that. But we're making gains, I think, in all the schools with that type of communication.
So we're in the home stretch here. So really, you know, the kind of just to continue that, you know, the stakeholder input is part of the SOA. So in a way, we've already started doing that. You know, I've presented to the Human Rights Commission a couple weeks ago. We have received input from our leadership team and coaches, which will be, you know, discussed in a little bit more detail at the Student Support Subcommittee meeting this Thursday. We received input at the Title I breakfast. So what's next is we need to schedule some stakeholder meetings with our LPAC, our Special Education Parent Advisory Council. We'll be meeting with the community stewards again. We plan to do a student survey, I'll say at a minimum at Fitchburg High School, and maybe down to the middle schools as well. And then one thing that I guess you can put on your calendars is we will have a community forum on Saturday, March 14th at 9 o'clock at Fitchburg High School's cafeteria. And we'll be putting together some information for that in the next week or so.
Week, yeah. Sending that out to everyone so they know.
So again, just the timeline, the Student Support Subcommittee meeting where we'll talk about the school committee members and anyone who wants to attend what our staff recommends. The community forum on the 14th at Fitchburg High. Then really the school committee vote on March 30th. And lastly, the due date for the SOA is April 1.
Just to be able to read that? No.
Read the fine print.
Is there a print up there?
The end.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, the pharmaceutical commercial.
All set?
The disclaimer isn't that long. Any questions?
No, that's good. I like the
Okay.
fact that you're having the community forum.
Yes.
So that's nice.
Yep.
So much better.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Action items?
We have two warrants up to be accepted, one for $456,000 and one tonight for $1.45 million. item 1276 and 1277.
I have a motion?
Make a motion to bundle items 20-1275 through 20-1277.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed is unanimous. Motion to, well, no requirement for executive session, I don't believe.
Motion to accept.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Second that motion to accept. the
Motion made,
bundle.
all right. So, now the vote, 20-1275 up through and including 20-1277. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Is unanimous. Thank you.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Motion made, second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Mr.
The
Walsh
second
and
sheet today.
Adam Reynolds.
I don't know,
Schedule a
if